Lucky Penny is a comic written by Anna Hirsch, with illustrations by Iwata, and editing by James Lucas Jones. It was published in 2016 by Oni Press Incorporated. Honestly, I went into this comic blind. I wasn't expecting anything too crazy, and what I got was about what I expected, with the exception of the ending, which is quite wild ride, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The comic stars the titular Penny Bratton as its protagonist. Her being a spunky young adult, she makes an ideal protagonist for this type of coming-of-age story. Granted, she does have quite a few flaws, not to mention the fact she's quite unlucky, but she manages to survive. She's aided on occasion by one of her best friends, Helen, who helps her with situations such as finding a new apartment and job after she's been fired from her old one. I was quite disappointed she didn't appear more often in the comic, as she was a perfect foil to Penny's antics. Still, she does make a few calls from time to time to check up on Penny, so I guess that counts for something. Penny ends up working for David, Helen's brother, who acts pretty mature for his age, although he does get up to some mischievous things in the background. Seeing him interact with Penny is quite a hoot. They get along as well as oil and water. Very funny stuff. Later in the book, she meets Eric Thurston, a fine lad, despite being a bit of a geek, who works at the local gym. Penny, being the opportunist she is, decides to date him in exchange for free access to the gym showers, since where she stays is a bit of a dump. Funnily enough, the two get along pretty well. I wouldn't say they have very potent chemistry, but seeing them together is pretty nice. The art of this comic has a nice, simplistic, monochrome look to it, almost similar to Scott Pilgrim, but with a tad bit more shading and texture. One thing you have gotta adore is how certain panels have detailed artwork in them to emphasize a certain point. The humor in this comic is very situational, with some physical gags being sprinkled here and there to keep things interesting. It sort of reminds me of coming-of-age webcomics, as they tend to have the same style of humor. The dynamic between characters feels very established, like there's other stories featuring them, and I'm just reading a snippet of it. I really like that. Now, I like the writing in this comic, but the ending feels like a massive tone shift. Now, I won't say exactly what happens, because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but boy, I didn't see it coming, even with the setup being built right in front of me. I guess it helped Penny go through some character arc, where she accepts her unlikeness, so I guess it works. If you want something that could pass the time that's pretty chill, this comic makes for a quaint read.